minds one thought at a time.
Greetings and welcome to Changing Minds Online's Empowering Women series. How are you doing today, Jessica?
I'm doing awesome, Akina. How are you?
I am great. I am super excited about today's show. I get to introduce one of my favorite people, Miss Akia Garnett, the CEO of Brand Builder. And she is going to talk to us today about marketing and branding and what is the difference. So I'm excited to find out what the differences are. So hello, Akia, how are you?
I'm good. Hey.
Hey now.
I'm great. Thank you for having me on your show.
Oh, it is definitely an honor and a privilege, and I've been waiting to have you here.
Yeah.
So tell us about the differences between marketing and branding. A lot of people think it's the same, but of course you're going to tell us otherwise. So what are the differences?
Well, it's not a coincidence that people believe that they are the same because they have some similarities, but they definitely are two distinct practices. So I like to start out with a conversation regarding marketing and branding by talking about communication as a whole. So communication is this big umbrella, and under communication fall a tremendous amount of other disciplines that all support the ability for us to move one message from one person or one entity to the next. Okay, so that's communication. Under communication comes branding and marketing and sales and business development. Do some of those things sound familiar? So from branding and marketing, communication, sales, those things are all their own disciplines, but they all support one another. So branding would be the first thing to think about. Branding is the experience that we wish to create about a product or service, an organization, a company, a philosophy, anything and everything, a person. All of those things have a brand. You have a brand. I have a brand. The city where you live has a brand. If you go to worship on Sundays or if you are a part of any other kind of organized religion, that philosophy, that way of life, it also has a brand. So everything has a brand, and that brand is what we call an experience. So the experience is what we create around a brand to help people understand how to think about something, how to participate in something, how to interact with something, how to feel about something, what to think about something. All of those things support the concept of branding. Marketing, on the other hand, is a set of activities that are done to create or to get people to respond to a call to action in a particular way. So say, for instance, you have created a brand around, say, you owned a Starbucks or something, right? So you go in the Starbucks, you are immediately swept up into the experience of that Starbucks, right? So if you're in Starbucks, then you know that it's going to smell a certain way, right? You know that it's going to look a certain way. You know that you are going to see certain things. You're going to see baristas. You're going to see people mixing up drinks. You're going to hear different sounds. You may hear music. You're going to see wooden tables. You're going to see chairs. You're probably not going to see booths. You're probably going to see chairs, and if you see a booth, it's probably going to be a wooden booth up against a window or a wooden booth up against a wall. You're going to see a refrigerated section of foods, but there are only certain types of foods that Starbucks carries. You're going to see certain types of drinks. You're going to see certain types of pastries. And if they are, by chance, going to partner with some new pastry creator, then they're going to let you know that they've partnered with a new pastry bakery because they're going to start introducing a new line of products that are all going to complement the Starbucks brand. when you are in that Starbucks, then everybody knows that they're going to walk a certain place to go and get the things that they've ordered. Everybody knows where to go and get the things that they've ordered. And then if you want to change or put something into whatever you've ordered, you're going to go over to the bar where you put in the things that you want to put into your order. Everybody does the same thing when they come in. Everybody knows the Starbucks experience. That's the brand. However, when you get into the Starbucks, you know that you need to order something. Now, if you look on television, you can see that they're starting to promote their new line of products. So they want you to come into the store and order something that you've seen. That's marketing. The marketing says, through advertising, look at this new thing that we have. This new product is associated with the brand called Starbucks that you have grown to like. Starbucks is the brand. All the beverages and all of the things that they sell, those are the products, and they market those products to you so that you can purchase those products based on the call to action and thereby support and exist and live within the brand. So there you have the difference between marketing and branding. Very, very similar, but very, very different. Branding is to get some group of people, a target audience, to support a concept, a philosophy, a company, an organization, etc. Marketing is to increase sales and revenue for a company. Okay, so then after marketing, then you have business development. You also have sales, and those are more tactical ways of creating and generating revenue, but those are done best when you've got a strong branding and marketing program that allows you to roll out some of the other disciplines under the communication umbrella.
Wow, that is very, very detailed. I love it. I love it. So now, if you are a business owner, which one should you focus on the most, the marketing or the branding?
Well, before you can focus on the marketing, you have to have a brand to market, right? So that's why it's important to understand the brand in which you've created. If you've created a brand, then you've got a call to action through your marketing that's going to allow you to actually sell something that's going to support your revenue and your plans for creating, revenue throughout a year, which would then allow you to increase the promotion of the brand. Does that make sense? So in order for you to have a strong marketing program, then you've got to have a brand under which you're marketing. Otherwise, you would have one promotion this year that's going to be different next year, that's going to be different next year, totally unrelated if you have a company that's focused on marketing and not branding. And that's where you have all sorts of confusion that takes place within your target audience because they are not familiar enough with the brand, although they may be familiar with products and services that you push.
Okay, because I know that you do consulting in this area. So when you go and you consult a business, can you tell right off the bat if they are not focused on their brand versus being focused on marketing, or are they just focusing in the wrong areas? How would you fix that for them?
Yeah, I can definitely tell when there's confusion within a brand right away. All of those things should complement one another. So whatever you see in the form of marketing should already be ever present in the brand. And what this means is the brand is where you see the future of the company, you see the current mission of the company, you see what it's doing today, you also can see traces of where it's going. So that's what I mean when I say you see the future of that company. When it comes to the marketing, everything that's marketed as a result of that brand is pushing you toward that brand. Okay, it's pushing you toward that vision and it's pushing you toward that mission. So it should make sense intuitively. If you see, when you go, let's go back to Starbucks. So if you go into Starbucks and you see a new line of blonde coffees or you see a new line of natural drinks, Well, if you are familiar with the Starbucks brand and you know that Starbucks is interested in creating a sustainable environment for the earth, then that makes a lot of sense. It makes sense that they would be selling natural drinks, right? Natural products, drinks. It makes sense that they would be selling a healthy food line or a healthy drinks line because they are interested in sustainable living, they're interested in healthy living, they're interested in creating sustainable communities. So that would make a lot of sense. If I went into Starbucks and I saw that Starbucks was selling things that were mass-produced in ways that are harmful to our bodies and harmful to the environment, then I'm probably going to be thinking in my head that there's a challenge here within the brand. The brand is being compromised because the products that are on the shelves don't necessarily support the vision and the mission of this company. And so that's always ever present. Sometimes companies can change their mission or change the direction of the company without having articulated that in the brand, and there gives an opportunity to go back and make those changes in the brand so that there's not confusion in the long term. I mean, this is very possible, you know, if you say, well, if I go into a company and I see that, if I'm consulting with a client and I see that there's dissimilarities within the brand and the actual things that are being marketed, that could be as a result of market shifts that have taken place, whereby new opportunities have arisen and those companies want to pursue those opportunities, and they make sense to pursue those opportunities, but in the long run, does this impact or affect the brand? Do they have an opportunity to go back to the brand of the company and then say, how can we pull in this new direction that we've pursued? Does it make sense for us to do this, or should we just kind of let that go by the wayside and get back to business the way we've been doing it? And so you see some companies that kind of get off track when they do go in different directions with their marketing if they don't go back and reconcile that within their brand. And that's very, very possible when it comes to economies or market systems where there have been interruptions in the marketplace. So when we've had recessions, you've seen companies that will, bootstrap their products and services, and they'll start selling anything just so that they can survive through a recession. After that recession is over, you'd see that company begin to go back to what they are best known for doing. That would be the wise thing to do, and find ways to incorporate or pull some of the things that they were doing during the recession into their brand if it makes sense. But where the challenge rests is when a company does not go back and resume what they were doing and then find ways to integrate some of the other things that they found success in while they departed from that thing that they were good at.
Wow, yes. So now let's say that a person is brand new to marketing and branding. They've been running their company about 2 or 3 years, but they really didn't focus on either one. What is the first thing they need to do to recoup from all of that time that they've lost?
So you mean a company that just got started and they didn't develop a brand nor marketing? Or did they just go into business? Maybe they had one contract that they fell into or that fell on their laps, and they did that, and then they were successful at it, but then they realized, I'm talking through an example. I'm talking through an example.
Right.
Here's how
yes,
companies
exactly.
started.
That's perfect.
So,
That's
okay,
perfect. Yes.
Here's an example. You've got a person, say, has been working for a company or an organization, and that company says to that person, you know what, we're going to be reducing some of these positions, but we want to give you a contract, and you can just work on that contract. And you'll still be working with us, but you won't be paid out of our budget. You'll be paid out of that contract. So in a sense, you'll be self-employed. Okay, so that person does that. That person creates this opportunity for him or herself, and they've been a contractor under one contract, as that one person for a few years, and then they become really successful at it, and they scratch their heads and say, you know what, I really like this, and I think that I can go out and look for other contracts now since I've gained some experience in this area. And so then they're scratching their heads and going, well, what other kind of contract can I do? Can I find another contract just like this? I don't know. Is that what I really want to do? I'm really good at this, and I like doing this, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to find another client within this particular, say it's a federal government project. I don't know if I'll be able to find another client in this agency that would allow me to do the same type of work. So how can I go out and find another client just like this? And, I really don't know if I can find another client like this. I'm going to have to find another client that would allow me to do something else. Okay, so now you've got challenge number one. Challenge number one is, what else am I going to do? And am I going to be able to do the work, or do I have to hire someone else to do the work? And if I hire someone else to do the work and I get another contract, now I've got these two contracts, and they're not really related at all, but at least I've got two contracts with a federal agency, right? So you can see where this is going. So then, you're working, and this other person that you've hired is working, and then, you say, you know what? Someone taps your shoulder and says, there's another contract that's coming out, and I think you should get it. I think you can get it. I think you need to go ahead and write a proposal for it, submit a proposal for it. So now you submit a proposal, you've got work that you've proven, you've got a proven work history with this agency, you've been doing all the work and everything. Now you've won a third contract. Now you've got three contracts. They're all different, but you've been performing well on them. Now how can you leverage these different experiences even though it's under one company and they're totally unrelated? Okay, so that's where you can have a company get started. They've created success for themselves, but they're not really working under an organized and comprehensive brand. And so you have to work with, an expert who can help you find those similarities across those projects, tag it with some sort of name and mission and vision that would help you to continue pulling other contracts under this umbrella, and then you have something like an Accenture, or you have something like a Booz Allen Hamilton, or you have something like an SAIC. That's an organization filled with very smart people who do very, very smart work, all working on many, many different projects. Over time, they will continue to develop experience in the areas of defense contracts or security contracts or information technology contracts, and you look at the actual work that they do, and there are probably a list of 100 different things that they know how to do because it's based on all the people that work for them. So that's an example of a company who could start out without really having a brand, without having a marketing strategy. It's based on one contract. It's grown over the years. Or you can start out in the traditional way with a business plan and a marketing plan and a financial plan, get some funding, go ahead and start shopping your core competencies out there and build slowly that way as well. Different ways to do it. Every person who falls into business or find themselves in business get there differently, and so it's not always how you start, but it's how soon it takes you or how soon you're able to pull out from the operations and wrap a brand around it that would allow you to continue positioning that to target audiences that really need the services and that really see your expertise as something that they can benefit from organizationally.
Perfect. We just have so many different realms of business today. We have a lot of contractors and consultants coming out of the woodwork, but we also have, of course, the ones who want to stay the mom and pop shop, the smaller and more intimate brands. How would a smaller intimate company go about doing their marketing?
Well, it's not difficult, but it does take some time. And I really think that a brand as small as a mom and pop could still be very, very valuable and create tremendous impact in a city, in a county, in a state, et cetera. It really depends on their ability and their savviness to create some messaging about what it is that they're doing and why. So if you've ever followed some of the smaller mom and pops, then some of them really do have mom and pop working on the inside. And these mom and pops that are working on the inside sometimes have children, and they raise those children to run the operation and to run the store. And, oh, by the way, they're doing all this because, maybe they're immigrants and they want to build a life for themselves here and finally, one day put their children to school and through school, and then have their children come back and take over the shop and retire the parents. And that's a story that people like to hear about. That's a story that people like to support. And so that could be a convenience store on the corner. I grew up in Washington, D.C. There were thousands of convenience stores all around, and in many of those stores there were families working in them. And so I wanted to support those stores, not at that time because I was cognizant of the fact that some of them were immigrants and I wanted to help, but I just liked the feel of it. I liked to walk in and see people who actually knew my name, and I knew their names, and I knew their kids, and they were always very helpful. And back in, when I was growing up, there was something called credit in some of these community stores. And so you can go in the community store, and if you didn't have money on a certain day, they just put it on your tab, and you had to square that tab at the end of the month. I mean, that's an example of a real mom and pop situation where that store can create tremendous impact in a community by showing that it is a part of the community and that the people who work in that establishment or own that establishment are real people with real dreams and real visions and real missions for their own lives. And there are other ways to see mom and pops get involved in communities by supporting local charities, by sponsoring teams that have sporting events, by being present for things that are in the community, such as parades where you'd see them with a float, or you'd see them, participating in scholarship programs where they're helping to put other kids in the neighborhood where they are through school, And then sometimes you see small establishments, take, for instance, like Ben's Chili Bowl, where it started out with one establishment, and now in Washington, D.C. and Virginia, they've started to spread out. They've got a new location that's opening on H Street, on the new H Street corridor very soon. That's a story of a brand that people like to support, and there's some nostalgia there. There's some lots of celebrities that have supported that brand. It has held a lot of history throughout the years in Washington, D.C., and all from, a store that really sells hot dogs and hamburgers, and that's something that people go to, and they have great conversations and create great memories around something very simple as a Frank. So mom and pops can build brands. Mom and pops can be very impactful in communities. They can do tremendous work. And, it's just great to support a local business. So I hope I answered your question there.
Oh, yes. The reason why I asked is because, we do have some people that just want to be smaller and intimate. And, and they need branding and marketing as well. But most of the businesses that I am familiar with are, of course, trying to build their brand online. And I know that you are an expert in online marketing and branding. So tell us about some good ways to market online, if you would.
Well, marketing online is fun. It really is. I tell people starting out that, first of all, online marketing and having a brand and a presence online is a way of life. It really isn't something you do. It's something that is a part of your life. So when you wake up in the morning, this is before you even think about, okay, which website should I focus on or which social media outlet should I focus on for communicating about my brand. The first thing is to become familiar and excited with all the things that are happening online. And so this is how much the online world should be a part of the life of someone who really wants to begin marketing their business or their brand online. When you wake up in the morning, you brush your teeth, you wash your face, you make something to eat for breakfast, you check your social media. You see who's talking, you see who's doing this, who's doing that, what happened across the world, is America still a sovereign nation? Are we still here? Those are all the things that you do in the morning. It's a part of your daily routine. And by lunch, you've been online and you've been talking to people and you've been checking things out, and you're communicating the whole way through and the whole day through, both in person with people and online. And slowly you see that your life is one thing. It's both social and present in real life. So all of those things are one thing. All of them are one thing. People see you socially. They see you in the real realm. They see you everywhere, and every place that they see you, your message is consistent. That's the way that, I advise people to begin thinking about developing a brand that they can both market online and also market in what I like to say real life. Okay, so then after you've become very comfortable with the online world and you're now a part of online social digital communities, now you can decide, okay, which site is going to be the best site, or which sites, plural, are going to be the best sites for me to begin developing a voice about the brand and the products and services that I have to that I'd like to sell. And then you choose, in the beginning you want to choose one site and maximize your ability to create an impact on that site. And after you've maximized your ability to create an impact on that site, then you develop an understanding of another site. And you do the same thing, and you find ways to create some interlockedness between those two sites so that you're not overlapping all of your duties all day long, and you're not really seeing much of a benefit from that or much of an impact from that, from all of the work that you're doing, sort of playing double time. And eventually you may find yourself needing the support of social media strategists who can help you do some of the things that you're doing more effectively. But, when you're just starting out, and if you don't have that big a budget and you're really just trying to get your feet wet, it's okay to jump in there to learn as much as you can about a site and master that, move on to the next, master that, and then begin having conversations with people to determine how you can get some support to continue growing as new sites develop. Because today, and this is something I always say, today what we're on are the popular Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, there's Vine and so many other sites and apps that are out there. But tomorrow there's going to be a whole different set of things that we'll be using. And so while the market is doing its own thing, where you are presenting your products and services, social media is also evolving and doing its own thing as well. And so you will need to continue evolving in your own market, but also having your brand evolve around social media platforms at the same time. And with that, and for that, is sometimes required the support of a social media strategist, a branding strategist, a marketing strategist who can help you spend your money and be more effective with your efforts.
Wonderful, wonderful. I am super excited that you are on the call and you're giving us all of these nuggets. And I want to congratulate you on air for being one of the top 100 marketers on Twitter. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Number 64. I don't have a jersey yet, but that's my number, and I'm sticking with it.
All right. All right. So can you tell us about Brand Builder?
Sure. Brand Builder is a full-services communication and marketing firm. We help business owners and small business owners primarily develop a vision and mission for their company, and then we help them to create a brand around it that supports that vision and mission. So just like what we talked about earlier, we help them articulate where it is that they're going, why they're doing all this, and then what does that look like in image form. So we help them to create the logo, the stationery packaging, the website, and all of those things that allow them to hit the street and to position their products and services in a way that gets them taken seriously. And then we help them determine which social media platforms would be the best place for them to market their products and services. We also help them understand how to approach certain target markets and help them create the visibility within those target markets that's going to help them win those contracts so that they can do some of the things that we talked about earlier, like earn that proven track record in being able to consistently deliver high-quality content, high-quality products, high-quality services to the target audiences that they support. So that's a Brand Builder. We've been in business for over 5 years now. We're headquartered out of the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, and I'm CEO.
Wonderful. And can you give them the website so that they can come visit?
Absolutely. Brand Builder is on masteryourbrand.com. So that's master, M-A-S-T, as in Tom, E-R, your TuesdayBranding.com. They can also find me at AkiaGarnett.com. And thank you so much for talking about Tuesday Branding. All of the things that we do on Tuesday Branding is a full day of free programming every Tuesday, starting out with the Akia Garnett Show, where I interview someone in business, someone in small business, or influencers that are out there creating an impact in the economic small business arena. Then we roll over to 4 sessions that I do between 2 and 4 p.m. with small business owners who are interested in working one-on-one with me for a half hour to do what we call a real intense but quick 30-minute branding session. I do 4 of those every Tuesday from 2 to 4 p.m. If they're interested in signing up for one of those, they can email me at a.t, that's A as in apple, dot T as in Tom, at masteryourbrand.com. At 6 p.m., I am on Kick Fanny's Big Thinking with Akia Garnett. That's where we enter the C-suite, and I am talking every single week with a heavy hitter in corporate America who has something to share with small business owners to help them move their brands forward. And then, as you know, on Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m. and also 9:15, I'm on My Brand Chat and iBrand Chat. Those are both long-running shows on Twitter. We've done over 200 shows with small business owners and entrepreneurs out there, helping them create awareness for the products and services that they have to offer. So there you have it, Tuesday Branding, and we're always introducing new products and new things to Tuesday Branding to help small business owners become effective in the work that they do.
Well, thank you so much, Akia. And, you know, it's we're just out of time, but just before we end, if anyone does want to get involved in one of those things you spoke about, what time zone are you working in?
Eastern Standard.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for being on our show. It was a pleasure to have you, and we appreciate everything that you've given our audience today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jessica, and thank you, Dr. Finch. It's always a great pleasure to be able to chat with a fellow colleague in education. I appreciate you both, and maybe one day we'll see you on one of our shows on Tuesday. We've already had you, Akina. We'd love to have you, Jessica.
All right, thanks. We'll definitely have to make that happen.
Thank you so much,
All right,
Akia.
thank you so much.
Good night, guys.
All right, good night.
Good night, everyone.